Have you ever imagined what it would be like to live with an unshakable mind, resistant to any emotional storm or external influence? In a world full of pressures, expectations, and uncertainties, protecting our mind is one of the most valuable skills we can develop. However, achieving this inner strength requires practice, reflection, and a thoughtful approach. A shielded mind is one that remains firm, regardless of circumstances, preserving its peace and focus. In Stoicism, we find a rich source of teachings that go beyond just rules of behavior. This philosophy teaches us to deal with what is beyond our control and to strengthen what is within us. It's not about ignoring or running away from difficulties, but facing them with determination, developing a mind that is prepared for any situation. This preparation makes us impartial observers of the external chaos, maintaining serenity and control over our emotions. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca believed that true inner strength comes from a serene heart and a disciplined mind. This continuous practice of protecting the mind requires courage to resist impulses and always seek balance. This not only makes us stronger, but also wiser, and immune to the distractions that pull us away from our true essence. In this video, we will share 6 innovative Stoic lessons that challenge traditional advice and offer unique ways to strengthen the mind. Are you ready for this journey? Share in the comments, what Stoic lesson do you most want to apply in your life? Let's build a stronger, more resilient mind together. Don't forget to leave a like to support the channel and subscribe to follow more transformative content on Stoicism and personal development. Let's get started. Lesson 1. Master the simply being. The mind is constantly in motion, seeking answers, justifications, and explanations. Often, in this effort to understand everything, we drift away from what really matters, the experience of the present moment. When we seek control and total clarity over the world around us, we forget the value of simply existing. Mastering the simply being is a rare but profoundly transformative practice. It means allowing yourself to live without the constant need to rationalize or define every moment. Imagine yourself facing a sunset. Usually, our mind begins to process the scene, describing it as beautiful, comparing it to past experiences, or trying to capture the moment in a photograph. But what if, for a moment, you just allowed yourself to be present, without labeling or recording it? This experience is liberating because it offers a pause in the incessant flow of thoughts and judgments. It's a simple yet powerful practice that helps us disconnect from the constant demands for answers and meanings, making space for true peace. This practice has deep roots in both Stoicism and Eastern philosophy. Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, believed that the true power of the mind lies in its ability to observe without attachment. By practicing simply being, we're exercising the ability to see things objectively, without the filters of expectations and judgments that we typically project onto the world. It's like looking at life through a clean window, without distortions. This state of being, of observing without clinging, allows us to access a peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances. Simply being doesn't mean being passive or uninterested. On the contrary, this practice requires a deep level of attention and presence. By allowing the moment to unfold without labeling it as good or bad, you enter a state of pure presence. This state provides mental rest and relief from the incessant need for control. The more we practice this, the more we realize that many of our worries and anxieties come from trying to dominate the uncontrollable. To achieve simply being, in a world that encourages movement and the search for answers, start with small steps. Take a few moments during your day to observe your surroundings without trying to understand or justify anything, whether you're having a coffee, walking, or at the end of the day. Allow yourself in those moments to be at peace with the unknown and with the lack of answers. Just observe. Try practical exercises to cultivate this skill. Choose an ordinary object, such as a cup or a plant, and observe its colors, shapes, and shadows carefully. Don't try to describe or compare it, just be present. This small exercise starts training your mind to let go of judgments and live the experience of simply being. Another helpful exercise is conscious breathing. Set aside a few minutes of your day to sit in silence and focus on your breath. Inhale and exhale slowly, paying attention to the movement of the air entering and leaving your body. Every time a thought or feeling arises, let it go, without resisting or attaching to it. Over time, you'll realize that the simple act of paying attention to your breath is already a practice of simply being. This exercise teaches us that it is possible to experience the present moment without the mind controlling or judging it. The practice of simply being begins to influence other aspects of life. Situations that once caused anxiety or irritation lose their power, as you realize you can face them with calmness and clarity. Your mind learns that not everything requires an explanation or answer. Thus, the practice of simply being becomes a shield against mental exhaustion. The true strength of the mind lies not in answering every question, but in accepting that not all answers are necessary. By practicing simply being, you build a more resilient mind, less influenced by external chaos and more centered on your essence. Over time, this practice allows you to find a point of peace amidst the complexity of life, where serenity and wisdom coexist. Lesson 2. Turn discomfort into curiosity. We've all experienced moments of discomfort, feeling tense, a tightness in the chest, or even a sense of inadequacy. It's natural to want to avoid these experiences, since our brain seeks pleasure and avoids pain. However, Stoicism offers a different perspective. What if, instead of avoiding discomfort, we could use these moments as opportunities to learn more about ourselves? This approach turns discomfort into a source of self-awareness and growth. The idea is to adopt an investigative stance in uncomfortable situations. Instead of reacting immediately, ask yourself, why do I feel this way? What exactly is bothering me? This type of curiosity helps you see discomfort from a different perspective. Often, it's not the situation itself that causes discomfort, but the interpretation we give to it. By examining these feelings carefully, we can identify unfounded fears, limiting beliefs, and even behavioral patterns we weren't aware of. For example, imagine a situation where you're in an important meeting and need to express your opinion but feel deep discomfort. Instead of focusing on the nervousness and trying to overcome it quickly, ask yourself, why am I so afraid to speak? You may realize that you're afraid of being judged or doubt your ability to contribute. By digging deeper, you may uncover that these insecurities stem from past experiences or ideas you carry unnecessarily. This awareness allows you to work on overcoming these beliefs and strengthen your confidence. By facing discomfort with curiosity, you redefine your relationship with emotions. Instead of viewing them as oppressive forces, you begin to understand them as signals, messages from your body and mind that show what needs to be adjusted or understood. This process is liberating because the more we understand the origin of our feelings, the less power they have over us. From there, it becomes possible to make more conscious decisions, aligned with our values, instead of being guided by momentary impulses. Another important aspect of turning discomfort into curiosity is practicing acceptance. It won't always be easy to understand exactly what's causing the discomfort, and in many cases, you might find that you're dealing with something beyond your control. By accepting this reality, you practice detachment and let go of the need to control everything. At this point, discomfort becomes an ally, reminding you to focus on what truly matters and accept what's beyond your reach. This practice is not a magic formula that solves all problems instantly, but a continuous exercise of self-understanding. With each uncomfortable situation, you strengthen your ability to stay calm and become more resilient. It's not about ignoring or canceling out discomfort, but about developing an attitude of investigation and acceptance that leads to transformation. Sharing your discoveries with someone you trust or journaling about your experiences can be a great complement to this practice. Often, by verbalizing what we feel, we gain greater clarity on our emotions, which also helps develop empathy for both ourselves and others. In each new uncomfortable situation, practice this curious investigation. Over time, you will realize that discomfort is not an enemy to be avoided, but a teacher that reveals who you truly are. Thus, you transform moments of weakness into opportunities for strength. This Stoic approach of turning discomfort into growth is a powerful tool for developing a resilient mind ready for any adversity. Lesson 3. Turn routine into ritual. In our daily lives, we often perform tasks automatically without reflecting on them. Having coffee in the morning, brushing our teeth, or making the bed. In a world where productivity and hurry dominate, these activities tend to be seen as a waste of time or mere routine details. But what if we could transform these simple moments into small rituals? This lesson invites us to look at our daily activities in a new way, where each action, no matter how simple, becomes an opportunity to strengthen the mind and reconnect with ourselves. The idea of ritualizing everyday life is not just about making tasks more enjoyable, it is also a mental and spiritual exercise that brings meaning to small actions. By transforming your routine into a ritual, you elevate a common task into a conscious moment, an opportunity to connect with the present and reinforce your intentions. For example, drinking a glass of water can become a ritual of gratitude for your health. Take a moment to feel the water, give thanks for it, and commit to taking care of your body. This small act gains new value, shifting from being just a habit to becoming an experience that strengthens you. Transforming your routine into a ritual also trains the mind to live in the present. This constant focus on the now develops a mental presence that reduces anxiety and stress. When washing your face in the morning, instead of rushing through it, take a few seconds to feel the water, notice the touch of your hands, and think about how you want to face the day. This simple gesture may seem insignificant, but it is in these details that the true power to strengthen your mind lies. Each ritual becomes a space for positive inner dialogue, cultivating calm and clarity before facing whatever comes. This practice also changes the way you approach your daily responsibilities. A routine perceived as an endless list of tasks can lead to mental and emotional exhaustion, but by transforming these moments into rituals, they cease to be obligations and become opportunities for personal growth. Cleaning the house, for example, can be an act of care, where you organize your space and at the same time, your mind. Cooking can become a ritual of self-care and creativity, a time dedicated to yourself or others. This perspective helps break the negative perception that everyday life is monotonous and purposeless, putting you in charge of how you view your tasks. Ritualizing your routine brings practical benefits to mental health. Studies indicate that people who practice mindfulness tend to have lower levels of anxiety and depression. Rituals are a simple and accessible way to introduce mindfulness into daily life without the need for formal meditation practice. A mind trained to find value in small gestures becomes more resilient in the face of difficulties. By creating the habit of valuing every detail of your day, you begin to see life in a richer and more positive way, strengthening your emotional resilience and building a shield against stress. Transforming your routine into a ritual is also a way of honoring the present and respecting the life you have now. For Stoics, every day is a new opportunity for growth, and life only gains meaning when we are fully conscious of each moment. Instead of waiting for major accomplishments to find meaning, this lesson shows that we can find significance in the small things. This is a true path to strengthen the mind, creating purpose in every action and reducing vulnerability to external impulses. Start with small gestures, a coffee, a bath, a pause to breathe. These can be your sacred moments, where you find serenity and strength to live with a shielded mind, a mind that values each moment and remains unshaken by adversity. Lesson 4. Listen to your inner voice. In the era of quick reactions and instant judgments, the ability to pause and listen to your own inner voice is powerful. Often, the responses we give, whether to criticism, a challenging situation, or even a question, are influenced by external pressures, automatic patterns, and an unconscious need to meet expectations. The Stoics teach us that responding authentically requires a deep connection to our true self. Listening to your inner voice before reacting creates a space of awareness between the stimulus and the response, and it is in this space that your freedom and power reside. It's not about saying what you think others want to hear, nor about reacting impulsively to something that bothers or pressures you. It's about connecting with your intuition, your values, and the vision you have for yourself. Imagine each response as an opportunity to reaffirm who you really are, rather than just reacting to what others expect. A valuable exercise to develop this inner listening is the dialogue with the self. Before responding in emotionally charged situations, ask yourself, is this really what I want to say? Or does this response reflect my deepest values? This inner dialogue helps identify what truly belongs to you and what is merely a reflection of others' expectations. This process is not easy, especially in moments of high tension. But over time, you will realize that by honoring your own voice, you will feel more ease and coherence with who you really are. The Stoics also practiced emotional detachment as a form of conscious response. Rather than being swept away by the emotions of the moment, they adopted an observer's stance. This detachment is not coldness, but a way to understand the situation without allowing emotions to automatically influence the response. By seeing challenges from a neutral perspective, you create a protective barrier that allows you to evaluate words and actions with more clarity and less regret. To deepen this practice, try a visualization exercise that connects you with your ideal self before responding to a challenging situation. Visualize the version of yourself you admire most, the one who is wise, calm, and steadfast, and ask yourself, how would this version respond now? Or does this response reflect the person I want to become? This practice inspires a sense of responsibility for your own development. When you act from this ideal image, each response becomes an affirmation of who you want to be, not a reaction to what the world expects. Another approach to hearing your inner voice is to practice silence before responding. This exercise involves giving yourself a few seconds of mental silence before speaking. This brief moment, which may seem insignificant, makes a big difference. By creating this conscious pause, you reduce the immediate impulse and make space for the response to come from the right place. Over time, these seconds of silence transform into a self-regulation skill that prevents regrets and promotes more meaningful interactions. Remember, listening to your inner voice is an act of self-compassion and authenticity. It's recognizing that your vision, values, and perceptions are important and worthy of being heard, above any external expectations. This generates an inner strength that isn't easily shaken by criticism, pressure, or judgment. This is a process of liberation, where you learn to prioritize yourself in your own decisions, without needing to justify or seek constant validation from others. By listening to your inner voice before each response, you create a safe space within yourself. This space allows you to live more consciously, true to your principles, and free from the constant pressure to please or adapt. This practice is a journey of self-discovery and empowerment, where each word spoken reflects your true essence. When we learn to hear our inner voice, the mind becomes shielded from external influences and strengthened, becoming unshakable in the face of adversity. Lesson 5. Create a mental mirror. The concept of a mental mirror involves cultivating a rare skill, the ability to observe yourself with complete neutrality, as if standing in front of a mirror that merely reflects, without judgment. Imagine a scene from everyday life, like a heated argument, where emotions run high and words are ready to be fired. What if, at that moment, you could see yourself from the outside, as an impartial observer, without taking sides, just seeing and understanding? This is the power of the mental mirror. It allows you to see your thoughts and reactions as they truly are, without the filter of habitual emotions and judgments. Cultivating this mental mirror requires practice and intention. It starts with the simple exercise of observing your own thoughts, as if they were clouds passing in the sky. Instead of getting involved with each emotion, you take on the role of the one who observes. This practice may feel strange at first, as we're used to reacting and identifying with every thought or feeling. But the mental mirror calls for a different approach, one of curiosity and a healthy detachment that allows you to question and understand what's happening within you, without getting lost in the chaos. A powerful technique to develop this skill is the daily reflection ritual. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to revisit situations that sparked strong emotions and try to observe them from a new perspective. Ask yourself, if I were an external observer, what would I see? How would I behave if I were viewing this situation from the outside? Over time, this exercise helps identify patterns in your reactions and better understand the internal triggers that may not always reflect reality, but rather ingrained beliefs and fears. Another essential aspect of the mental mirror is self-compassion. When you see yourself in the mirror of the mind, remember that the goal is not to criticize or censor, but to embrace your flaws with kindness and learn from them. Being an impartial observer doesn't mean being insensitive. It's about looking with compassion and a sincere desire to understand yourself. Constantly criticizing yourself creates a negative cycle of self-criticism and guilt. Instead, view your reactions as lessons. Each thought and emotion reveals something about who you are and who you want to become. The idea of a mental mirror can also help in moments of difficult choices. When faced with an important decision, visualize the situation as a scene in a play, where you are both the character and the audience. Take the role of the spectator and observe what options the character has. This allows you to see the situation more rationally, analyzing what truly matters, without being swept away by fear or pressure. The mental mirror is a practice that integrates into your daily life and strengthens with constant exercise. Over time, it becomes a valuable resource for facing life's challenges. You no longer get stuck in automatic reactions dictated by instinct, but gain the ability to choose how to act with awareness. Instead of being a leaf in the wind, you become the observer of the wind, recognizing its direction, but choosing how to respond to it. This self-awareness exercise goes beyond superficial observation. It helps you understand your motivations, confront fears, and distinguish between fleeting reactions and what truly reflects your deeper values and goals. When we look at ourselves with this clarity, we gain the power to act with greater wisdom and serenity in all areas of life. So practice, observe, and reflect. Reflection is not just about seeing what needs to be changed, but also valuing what has already been achieved. Over time, the mental mirror will become a source of strength and serenity, fortifying your mind and allowing you to walk through the world with firmness and purpose. Lesson 6. Develop a spatial mind. Imagine your mind as a vast and quiet field, where thoughts float like clouds, without hurry or disturbance. Every thought, no matter how heavy or tumultuous it may seem, passes through this space without needing to remain. This is the essence of the spatial mind, creating an inner expanse that allows you to observe everything that arises with serenity and detachment. The spatial mind is not just a meditation technique or a mental exercise. It is a daily practice of internal expansion, a refuge where we can maintain our tranquility, even in the face of external chaos. Stoic philosophy teaches us that by developing the ability to look at our emotions, thoughts, and life events with distance, we create an unshakable space of freedom. The spatial mind helps us develop this perspective, allowing us to be observers of our own thoughts and feelings rather than being dominated by them. When the mind transforms into a vast and serene space, it becomes a place of acceptance, where every thought or emotion can arise and dissipate without creating conflict. To practice the spatial mind, begin by imagining that every morning you open a mental window to an infinite horizon. In this scene, any negative thought, insecurity, or worry becomes just a small wave in a vast ocean. Visualize these waves coming and going, realizing that by maintaining a broad perspective, emotions lose the power to control you. This exercise acts like a zoom out of the mind itself, allowing you to see each thought as something temporary, without identifying it as a permanent part of who you are. This inner expansion helps detach from recurring thoughts and emotional pressures. Instead of feeling that your mind is a small space where any disturbing thought takes up immense space, you begin to see it as an expanding universe where nothing is definitive. The goal is not to disconnect from feelings, but to understand that you control how they impact your peace and well-being. By developing a spatial mind, you learn to mentally step back, creating a healthy distance between your consciousness and impulses. The spatial mind is a powerful tool for dealing with stress and anxiety. When something causes discomfort, such as criticism, bad news, or an unexpected event, instead of being dominated by these emotions, expand your mind to embrace this experience broadly. Observe the thought or emotion without judgment, as if watching a cloud pass by. This practice not only reduces the immediate impact of the situation, but also allows you to regain control, without acting on impulse. The interesting thing about this practice is that it strengthens creativity and intuition. A mind that expands and creates space for ideas to flow freely becomes more receptive to insights and creative solutions. Instead of fixating on a specific problem, it allows new solutions to arise. This is an exercise that not only makes the mind more resilient, but also more open and flexible, turning rigid and anxious thoughts into serene fluidity. You can enhance the practice of the spatial mind throughout the day, remembering to take mental pauses and expand your horizon when feeling pressured or overwhelmed. Close your eyes, imagine your mind as a calm, silent vastness, and observe thoughts as if they were natural phenomena that arise and pass. Instead of seeing them as barriers or problems, view them as elements that can be welcomed or let go without effort. Developing a spatial mind is an important step toward mental freedom, where every thought finds its place, but no thought defines you. By practicing this technique, you allow yourself to observe what truly matters, distancing yourself from the noise and unrest that once controlled you. This expansion transforms your mind into a sanctuary, a refuge for moments when you seek peace and clarity. Completing this journey of Stoic lessons is the first step to fortifying your mind against the challenges and pressures of the world. Each of these practices is like a brick in the construction of an inner fortress that you can carry with you in any situation, keeping you firm and serene. If you practice these lessons continuously, you will realize that true power is in your hands, and that genuine freedom comes from within, not from external circumstances. If you've made it this far and absorbed each of these lessons, we want to know who is committed to strengthening their mind. Leave the word grateful in the comments so we know you've followed this journey and are ready to apply Stoicism in your life. And of course, if these lessons inspired and helped you, don't forget to leave a like, so more people can find this content. Subscribe to the channel to continue receiving videos that will transform your mindset and help you build a life with more balance, strength, and purpose. See you in the next video.